Good morning, good morning, all you beautiful people out there. If everything is working very well. I'm joined by another crew of even more beautiful people. Snare, Saber, Rizzard, the Lizard. Welcome.
Lizard. It's Lizard.
The
That's a
Lizard.
good nick.
Dude,
I like
I
it.
like that. Yeah.
some people saw that your package that you guys gave me with the Lizard. Uh, I think it's gonna stick with
You
my
can't
friends.
escape, bro.
I
You can't
can't
run away
escape it
from it.
anymore. I'm doomed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes the nickname finds you, you know?
yeah. Unfortunately, it happened. SabeRLight, what's up? What's up with your nickname, by the way? Where did it
Well,
come
Saber
from?
Chad, actually.
Saber
That's
Chad,
even,
actually. Yeah.
I don't know. I wish I could have like some risk inside of my nickname, but it doesn't make sense. So that's unfortunate. I'm very envious
Can
of you.
can you can you figure it out, Snare?
Saber is?
Saber.
That's strange. That doesn't We'll work. figure it out. Yeah, Yeah, we'll exactly. workshop, yeah. But yeah, I'm doing good. You asked how my nickname came to be or what?
Yeah.
No cool story there. I was just like shopping with my mom and I was brainstorming ideas when I was 12 and I was like, I need something cool. SaberLight, boom. I was also debating Monk, but I'm glad I
Uh-huh.
didn't go with that one.
It's like another story, bro. It's
Yeah.
incredible. Yeah. Started when I was 12.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's like when you have to get your nick. That's when you like get into gaming. So
Mm.
mm.
How you guys feeling?
I'm chilling.
TI and everything. Snare, you've been around for some time now. Like we did the road to TI, the group stage
Yeah,
together.
we're not actually doing TI. We're on the bench, bro.
Yeah.
Like they took us off the stage. We didn't make it to TI. We took the off
All
ramp.
three of us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
three of
yeah.
us. We're on the road. We took the off ramp. They're like, sorry, y'all, we went the wrong
I
direction.
have to watch it from the side now,
Right, exactly.
like all of us.
But I've been chilling. It's been Seattle's a very fun city to be in. Very expensive though. Like if this city was 50% cheaper, it'd be the best place in the world. But
Only 50, maybe a bit more.
maybe like 80, honestly. Like it's been yeah.
Forgot my hygiene, a razor, and like cologne water cost me $30 last.
$30. Bro, the hotel I'm staying at now, like they give you those bottles of complimentary water. They gave me not just the water, they also left a nice little receipt next to it that if you take any of the water, you have to
Are you
pay
kidding?
$7. And
Oh,
it's like,
it's not really complimentary.
well, it's not really complimentary. Yeah. I'm complimenting someone's bank account, but it's not a compliment for me. Yeah.
Huh? Well, we all made it here to this part of the world for TI. It hasn't been back in the US for how many years? Somebody
Five, I
do the
think.
quick math. It's five, six,
Yeah, 5 or 6, something like
six.
this.
So yeah, I think that's correct. So it's been a long time since we had Dota here, and it's close to Valve's
Main
home,
office?
heart,
Yeah.
main
Mm.
office. So to me, it's kind of special, or like it feels, pretty special.
Mm.
Although it also feels very different. Like the format's different. Many years down the line, many changes have happened and are, also coming up is going to be happening. But it's also very nostalgic for me, Like I'm
Mm.
walking around here, I
Mm.
don't see it before, but it's something very cool and special.
When was the last time, by the way? You guys never had a lot of success in Seattle,
No,
right?
no, I have a lot of bad memories from
Yeah.
this. Lot of bad.
Nostalgic. I just love how I
But the
lost here.
food's always been good, win or lose, like you go
Yeah.
back. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes that's the cure for depression, right? But yeah, it's fun to walk around. A lot of mixed memories, a lot of mixed emotions. But
I feel like that's one thing that I didn't get to do here so far.
Mm.
Is taste the local food. They were like, you didn't leave, you remained after.
Yep.
get- Sorry, after getting eliminated. Did you get some good food? Some chowder?
Uh, I did get like a good steak. There's a Capital Grill, like
Mhm.
right next to the W, so that's some nice steak. Other than that, I mean, for the tournament, we had like per diem, like $80 per person. So just a bunch of Uber Eats. I got
Mhm.
Din Tai Fung. I like that. That's my new American restaurant that I enjoy.
Mm.
And then I don't know, just a bunch of American food. One of the days, I think the last day, like people they were just doing random stuff, and we had the budget. So I ordered like $100 steak from Uber Eats because I was
oh my God,
Wait,
that was
wait.
nice.
$100?
$100 worth of steak?
What kind of cut is this? It's like Wagyu?
I mean, I don't know, just some Did it some good
Mm.
steak.
Taste
Like
$100?
it tasted like losing a tournament.
Ah. And that's how it goes here, You lose and you get real familiar with the food, some of the food places.
Exactly. That's
And ice
life.
cream. Yeah. Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about the games. Well, a little bit. I actually wanted to focus a lot on the Dota part that's coming up as well, and I think I have amazing people for this as well, like to kind of break down what happened and what's gonna happen, or what we think could happen with this weekend.
Mm.
Because what's pretty unique about this tournament, I think, compared to others, is that we have these breaks in between.
Mm.
It's never really, I think, happened in a high stakes tournament like this, where you have this much space in between. It's familiar. kind of the DPC, I think, and it's kind of funny that it all ends this way as well, because DPC has been notorious for bringing this on, whereas like if you were good at Dota at some point at breaking the game or being innovative, it would only work for 1 week or one stage of the tournament. It wouldn't win you the whole thing, or you couldn't, pull this bullet out on the last day and use it several times. It would get exposed.
I carry.
Yeah, for example, right? Like, what
Yeah.
would have happened if IO carry would have been played in first phase?
Yeah.
That's the I, and people would have been given the time to, practice, work on, think about how could things have worked out, for example. So I think the same thing is very true for now. Is like all that things that worked last weekend.
Not one
If
right now.
nothing changed, then it's on the people who are playing right now. But most likely, people are preparing, getting ready, coming up with answers.
I mean, we already saw this in that first phase of the tournament, right? That between the group stages and the first weekend of playoffs, all the heroes that were most picked, most banned were different, right? Like the top 10, like there were a couple of the most banned heroes that stayed the same, like Bristleback, Spirit Breaker was still in every game. But Brewmaster went from the first 2 days, I think, it was banned in the second phase, every other game. Playoff weekend, first phase, every game. No, everyone's like, right, what do I play against this Brewmaster? Magnus started getting banned. Dark Willow gets pulled out of nowhere. And people knew about these things like in the pubs, but the fact that it changed in those few days, it's going to change again. And I mean, I'm actually curious about your experience here, SabeRLight, because like in between those 5 days, right, seeing all these changes happen and in the pubs you're playing, does that affect like how you prepare for another team, knowing that it's going to be different situations? Like all your prep for the first weekend is definitely not going to be applicable the second time. Like, how do you guys prepare for that, given how random it's going to be?
Yeah, I mean, so the way it worked for us this tournament is like we came into the tournament with some ideas from the bootcamp, and then I mean, since we lost a bunch in groups, we like looked at what did we lose to, and like what the successful teams are playing, and then we kind of steal some of their ideas, see how strong they are. For example, like this Breaker hero, right? We didn't play it before the tournament started, then we lost to it a bunch, and it just looked stupid. Then we spend the 5 days practicing this hero. And we also like played for example, the Willow carry, right? So you kind of have time and space to test other people's ideas and also test like how is it countered. So I'm interested to see what the teams come up with from the break from Roto TI to this, because yeah, there seems to be like a meta forming of like you pick like the heart, like Heart of Tarask heroes, like
Blade Mail, Heart of
yeah,
Tarak,
exactly.
yeah.
You have the strength heroes everywhere, some CKs, Raid Kings, the mid laners are Raid.
Bulky boys and that.
Yeah, exactly. So then that's like the first step of the meta, right? The second step is like, okay, so now you start picking supports that counter these heroes, which is like percentage. So you pick like the Phoenixes, the A's, heroes like that. And then so that was the meta for the road to international. So I'm interested to see like what is the next step from like countering these heroes.
You know what I'm hearing from this? I'm hearing that you guys, like, no offense, came with the wrong idea to the tournament, because you're like, you haven't really realized that Spirit Breaker is going to be that good. Maybe Dark Willow caught everyone off guard. But did you feel maybe that you were on the back foot here in strat?
It can be true. It can also be untrue, right? That now Spirit Breaker wins games, but
No,
then
he
now
can
people,
fall off.
or people figure him out, or like you see that all the time in metas too, where a hero stays good for a week or even 2 weeks until people get familiar with it. Not just the heroes change, but also the familiarity with how the hero likes to play and what it does and whatever. So I think it's going to be interesting now. Like, what are people going to choose to try and break? Like, is it going to be the CK? Is it going to be the Spirit Breaker? Is it going to be these things that have been obviously broken for longer in this tournament? Will a hero like Willow get figured out, respected? Does it even deserve the respect? Because I mean, from my read, there's been like amazing Willow games where the W looks,
insane.
insane, and then there are games where it doesn't have the full value, where there's things that go through it and so on. And is that even enough? Can you beat it in some other ways? But it does look, hella stupid once it kicks off. I'm very interested to see how Spirit, for example, let's talk also about who's going to play first, because I think these things also matter, a little bit. I'm not saying that LGD is going to change what they're going to play according to the first game, but things might affect each other still,
Out of all of these teams, what do you think? Who's going to innovate the most? Like LGD, they already brought us.
They were the ones that started the Willow carry.
They started the Spirit Breaker
And they
core as
started the
well.
Spirit Breaker,
Like a long time ago, right?
And they were the first ones, I think, to play Magnus this tournament.
In this tournament, they were the first to pick Mag mid, I think, yes.
Yeah. There's a lot of new things that LGD has done. And
But the Willow was apparently a pop thing for a while, right?
yeah, in
Correct me
turbo
if I'm
mode
wrong.
specifically. People in turbo mode have been playing Willow like carry all the time.
Yeah. And that point also goes for this weekend. I think a lot of the things that we saw last weekend went straight into the pubs, and now people are actually figuring out the answers collectively, like a big Dota hive mind. You have all
Yeah.
these pubs also kind of giving you solutions and answers. I think we've seen a lot more Pugna being picked in pubs. We've seen a lot more Necro being picked. I don't have all the stats right now, but obviously CK gets picked a ton because he has super high win rate. Everybody gets like these guides on how to play him, like given to them. Now the pubs are also in there trying to figure out like what beats this hero, if anything, you know, like how can we really shut this down?
But beats him is
But
bans.
there's a pub meta as well as pro meta, right? It's
But
not
it's super influential,
yeah,
like
yeah,
they
definitely.
influence each other left, like all the time, right?
Especially when there's so many players here at the same time,
True.
right?
Even the European pubs where nobody's maybe playing, they are still influencing TI right now.
Like back in the day, I always thought that actually pro players they look into pub stars, like, but not necessarily any pub star, but the guys that grind the hero, like that have like 2,000 games on a hero.
You
Have
can
you
learn
have you
so
ha-
much from, for example,
right?
Dota buffing. You go to that guy, the spammer who's rank 1, and you can also just go and see what he picks against his own hero,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
example. Or you can see what he loses to. You can see, you know, and it doesn't mean that it's always like the best answer, but it's a source of inspiration, right? Like, yeah.
Have you two been pubbing like here? Have you been playing or chilling after?
I lost 3 games and I was like, let me explore the city. Let me go hang out. Let me go see what's happening.
Oh, fair enough.
For me, unfortunately, the moment you lose, you get kicked out of the hotel and you're practically
Ah, I see. Yeah.
But you could get the Steam Deck and you could play Dota on the.
Yeah, the Steam Deck Dota, of course.
It's fun.
I'll get my 12K through the Steam Deck.
Yeah. So right now in your practice room, there's only slacks, like
Yeah,
investigating,
doing some content.
doing some content. Yeah, I
But
see.
also when you guys were talking about CK, I'm surprised that no one picked both like Enigma or Underlord. Those were my ideas. So
Right.
when people start picking it, you heard it here first.
Why?
I
Why
really
those?
like Underlord
Yeah.
versus some also the Spirit Breaker. I feel like it's solid if you're going to try to go against it. Why I'm surprised that I don't see this answer more than this hopeless, helpless SD. It was like, yeah, you go kill him, bro. Like you get this
Yeah.
ulti on him. You see this guy 5K movement speed from the trees. Like, oh shit, I can't click.
When Winter was
It's
still here at the beginning of the tournament, there were a couple of games. I think it was actually one of your games as well, where we were like, my God, this looks like an Underlord game. We don't know why Underlord's not being picked. And I think it wasn't picked, hasn't been picked at all, right?
I think Ace played it
Like
once.
Ace played it
one
one
pick,
game.
yeah.
But why? Like, what's been happening? Like, because I thought for myself that Underlord, Monkey King, in particular, because of how many high HP heroes there are in the game right now, and how much high damage heroes there are, these would be heroes we see picked a little bit more. Like, what do you guys think? Where Underlord and Monkey King gone, given how tanky everybody is?
From my experience, like Underlord is just a really bad hero right now. They nerfed him like 2, 3 patches in a row. But at the same time, I think he's really good against the meta that is right now. Like he counters like so many heroes with the root, and he also has like percentage damage against all the tanky heroes. So it does make sense like to pick him. But
My, my only question is like I call this the puppy effect. We call it puppy effect. Was the kind of a guy, I don't know if you remember, he'd let you have your brokers and he'd always try to counter them, at least from what I've seen back in the day. And most of the time, those broken heroes would win against him. Right? You remember the Lycan patch? It was letting Lycan go through every single game and losing to it, like very often. So I'm thinking, like, if something is broken, isn't it easier just to ban it out and play the rest of the game? Like, get out the CK, get out the Spirit Breaker.
My approach would be to look at it with a very detached view. You know, like you're trying to find out what you want to play against, and it can be to your benefit if you know what's coming, and if you don't believe that it should always win. Well, let's for example say that the Spirit Breaker looks hella stupid, hella strong. Let's say you're LGD, and you even brought this into the scene at some point, and you're looking at your ban situation, your pick situation, and you look at a team, and they're like, okay, these guys first pick SB. One, their SB is weak. Two, they're gonna pick this SB maybe over something that we care about or that we think is decent, like Brewmaster or I don't know, XYZ. You want to look at it like an opportunity as well to get to play against something that you know is coming. That's one. And then two is if they feel good or strong about something, you give it to them and you beat them, it might win you the whole series. It might set you off in a really good
Even
way,
the
right?
morale effects,
Yeah.
right? Like,
So, I mean, my read from watching at home on the couch was like, why are people giving fucking CK away? Like, I think that is way too much. Like, this just, he is so good at doing what he does. It's so hard to shut him down. Even if you counter him fully in the game, like try to counter his ulti, it doesn't matter. He's about the third spell. He's about many other things. He will kill the Tormentor for the whole game. He kills Roche, blah, blah, blah. Like, super strong first pick, right? I think the other ones, if you take away their there are one or two things that makes him pickable or like super broken.
They're
Like
counter.
Dazzle, right? Like this grave ability in team fights. I think if you pick Dazzle into A, it doesn't look
Yeah.
imbalanced. It doesn't look imbalanced. Maybe it's still playable, but TK I think looks imbalanced almost every game,
It's
and
what
almost every
Bristol.
carry plays it. Whereas not everybody plays Spirit Breaker. Not everybody plays Dazzle in every role. But like for example, Virtus Pro when they played Spirit Breaker 5, I think that team, if they know it and played in multiple roles, maybe it's also really good for them, for example, right? So
Flexible
values
as well.
change, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's what I'm really excited about. Like I also want to look at the games that are coming up because you have Nouns Gladiators first, which I think is the most anticipated game since we are in America and America is representing USA. And it's super hype game because there's a chance for a big upset, right? Everybody's looking at Gaming Gladiators like they were one of the favorites to win TI.
They're one of the favorites, right? But at the same time, coming into the TI, they didn't really show the best performance.
Yeah, it's been a rocky few months.
It has been a bit rocky, right? Like even they won what every single major,
Up until Bali, yeah.
and then they go into Riyadh, one tournament that can win them more cash than all the three majors, and they don't do as well. Like it's kind of rough.
But I think it's probably one of those difficult things. Like, Johan, you might have experience with this where when you're winning for a long period of time in a single year, right? Not only does everybody's paying attention to you specifically, trying to figure out why you're winning, trying to figure out how you play Dota. But also, unfortunately, Valve is looking too, right? They're looking at these strats because gaming, we weren't the most versatile team while we were winning, right? It was very similar style of play that we were doing throughout the year. So it's like, sweet, if we nerf all these heroes, we nerf this play style, we drastically increase the size of the map. We just make your style of Dota harder to play now. And then what can you do? What are you supposed to do? You come into a tournament and you've now gotten into that mode of winning. Everyone's figuring you out. Now you have to somehow get that back, get the morale of coming back from losses. You haven't been in a lower bracket run before. You have to do that now. Like so many different things. There's so much external pressure as well, right? Because people are looking at you specifically and saying, why are you underperforming? It's not us, bro. Like we're still good. We're still amazing. Everyone else caught up to us. The game is different. We have to figure out a new way to win. And it's really
We
hard.
have him here on the couch, so I want to ask, because Gaming was winning a lot.
Yeah.
Did you look at them more often than any other team? Like, did you try to copy their ideas? Were they the ones that maybe shape the way you're thinking about the game too?
Yeah, I mean, you always look at the top teams. So
Right.
not like specifically gaming, but like gaming or Liquid or like
Yeah.
Hero or like the teams like that. You know, you always want to look at their ideas, and I agree with Snare. It is really hard to like basically the entire year because yeah, Valve is fighting against you, the other teams are fighting against you. So, you know, it's hard. I think the team is like very good, but it's also like in my opinion, the team gets like truly tested when they start losing, and they didn't really get tested like this year. They got tested last year, but you know, now they got tested like during Riyadh, and now during this TI they also lost a few games. So, and it's you know, you need to have like a really good team where you're able to like win the entire year, and then suddenly you start losing, and you're still able to bounce back from that.
What about the NA squad? Like Johan, we've been watching it in Lisbon,
Yeah.
that cozy couch.
Yes.
Like the first series they played, they had a Witch Doctor, they had some crazy.
Yeah.
What was the other pick? The first one was Witch Doctor.
With Dr. Offlane and that Dazzle Offlane, I think? No, they played Dazzle in the game that they
They-
lost.
In any
Against
case, they
Lizzard,
had
yeah.
like the first series that they won, they had really interesting drafts, right?
Yes.
And then the next draft, next series.
So,
yeah.
but also, if you're looking at this team, you can notice certain patterns coming out now that are very interesting, and I'm very curious to see how gaming will approach them. Again, this is like from a strategic and Dota point of view, it's like, and I like it because it's also as simple as this. So, Nouns Hector, they learned themselves, and I think they understood some things about the patch, but like CK hella broken, right? CK on Hector, really good combination. Like, oh my god, he plays it really well, understands the lane really well, and I think these are super important things for the hero, like how to make him snowball, how to crush your lane, and how to, you know, scale with the hero, have an impact in the mid game. When we've seen him play, the CK is almost like he's playing a different video game from everybody else on the server. Goes alone, is solo killing people. Sometimes people like spells are flying over his head, but honestly, he like joins the fight, leaves the fight, doesn't give a fuck. Them as a team are also really enabling this, like the way they're playing, the way they're kind of drafting around it too. It starts coming together. At least from my point of view, I think they understand the CK hero. I think people are enabling each other. I think Hector's enabling them, and they're enabling Hector. Like they're playing well together in this 24 protect one strat. But you know, CK is no anti-mage. Like he is out there killing people, solo killing people, and so on.
He's joining.
So when CK gets banned, what's up, Hector? You know, people have 4
Yeah.
bans or 3 bans, whichever, like 3 bans in the pick or 4 bans Naga. Okay. Wow. Why? Well, it's similar. It's the same concept. Just maybe less about the lane. It's much
Yeah.
harder to crush a lane with this hero. But the same thing with having an impact in the mid game, pushing lanes safely, and also for them to draft around a hero like this, I think just feels more comfortable. Like they got really comfortable with the CK.
Mm.
What happens then if you ban CK Naga?
PL.
PL, oh my God, like is this what happened? It's not rocket science, like I'm saying. So if you're gaming gladiators, I think
You already
you already
all
know
of
what's
this.
happening.
Yeah,
So if they're gonna give away CK or Naga, it's because they know that they're gonna go for it and they know that this is what they want to try to play against.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit more like I would like if I was on gaming, I would like to test Hector a bit and test them as a team a bit and be like,
Let the
yo,
CK go.
let all the illusion heroes go.
Mm.
Or give him
See which
PL.
one.
Like I would give
Yeah.
him PL because the PL game they should have lost. Like, and PL
Yeah.
did not look strong. The Naga, I think, is very good. They're not the only team looking at this. They're also not every team is looking at CK.
Is there like a hero that you hated playing against the most, Saber, like tournament, this TI? Road to TI, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it was CK for sure, but that's like the easy answer because it's like you can't win the lane against his hero unless you like counter him with your hero. Like let's say I play some Legion or like some 50-50 matchup.
Mm.
It's you just get crushed. That one's hard. Other than that, I don't know what are some other meta carries. I mean, the other heroes are not as hard in lane. I think yeah, it's just this hero. And, like for Nouns, I think when they pick heroes like PL, I don't respect that hero that much. I feel like you should be able to win the game
Not
from
the
there.
most broken hero in the meta.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know about Naga. Last year we had Skitter with like some insane Naga performance.
Mm.
So maybe there's something to it.
You guys are all about the illusion heroes, but my Eastern boys,
I know this Naga hero
Yeah.
too well to say
Yeah.
that this shit is way too good right now. Like the same as the CK. The potential the hero has for the mid game to late game and what you can do. I also think if you figure out the lane with the right combinations, it's not bad. And sometimes it crushes.
Mm.
Sometimes it can be hard if they get to pick a matchup. But I think if I was gladiators, like I would not give them these two, give them the PL and deal with that, or even see
Mm.
what happens if you ban all three. Like I think it would be wasted and not so smart to ban the PL, but I think it could be very interesting to ban two and push them out of their comfort zone. But this is TI, so this is where I'm really excited to see what are you made of. What type of guy are you? Are you like Poppy? Are you gonna give them what
all
they
they want, yeah.
what they want and what they never could have dreamed of getting? And then because also that puts the stakes so high. What happens if you lose?
There's also like this aspect where you might ban all the broken meta heroes, but then no, that's not necessarily like you ban out the Naga, you ban out the CK, but you're leaving something else in the pool, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a
Spirit
lot
Breaker
of
will be
the
in,
Spirit
Spirit
Breaker
Breaker's
in,
there.
there's
Bristleback will be
Dazzle,
in.
there's Bristleback, right? And the second matchup of the day, Bat Boom and versus Throw the Eastern
Definitely
Boys,
seeing Earthshaker,
right? Like
Spirit,
they're
Primal
playing a
Beast.
lot
It
of
was
those.
funny enough, actually with VP, back when they were qualifying, we did the qualifiers for
Mhm.
Eastern Europe, right? Quadrix, the mid player, he was the first guy like in this road to TI, I suppose, like in this portion of the season. Start spamming, I think it was what, 5 games in a row he played Earthshaker mid.
Yeah.
And no one else was doing it. And then the next day, everyone's like, oh my God, this shit's actually looks so broken. And it's kind of disgusting when you see this. But speaking of carries, and I think in that game, we're not going to see it in the bedroom series, but we might see it in the first one. Why don't we see more morphing? Because whenever I see Spirit Breaker, right now Spirit Breaker seems busted. The longest time it felt like you just pick Morphling
Who was it?
into Spirit Breaker.
23
They had it
Savage tried, right?
they
Yeah,
had
we
it
saw it twice. We saw once in
Yeah.
the group stage and then
the
once in
very
the playoffs.
last game.
Yeah.
Red Boom Talon. Talon had the morph versus the Spirit Breaker, but I think it is not the same as it used to be because the Ags interaction and effect is not as good for morphling anymore. He has a different Ags, right? In that game, for example, he would morph into the Spirit Breaker. It looked like a little bit hopeful, but I do think the morph's item build and overall hard work, it doesn't look as stupid as it was before.
Hmm.
Like back then, when you would pick more Shaker, more Spirit Breaker, that was
Yeah,
that was,
game
Yeah, which is
but it
interesting.
doesn't
Like
work the same
a
anymore.
carry that you're probably well acquainted with Ame. Like he said something recently, like a few days ago, that Morphling is probably the most broken carry. The easiest to win with.
I would disagree.
Yeah.
I would disagree. I think he loses to CK. I think he loses to Naga. I think he loses to even PL to an extent. Like he could definitely lose
Yeah,
to PL.
PL is usually the counter, right?
Yeah, and I think he has a big problem versus Shaker and Earth Spirit Hero. Even though he can turn into a Shaker and stuff, like these instant stun,
It is
instant
nice.
silences
Yeah.
makes team fights really tricky sometimes.
Yeah.
And games go on, and 2K HP and Morphling, you don't feel good, like in the late game with this.
I just wonder what are we going to see? Like the first series, we talked about it early. Like the second one, the Eastern boys. Like I wonder what they're gonna bring to the table because They're
I have a feeling from Virtus Pro. Like I think they're on the ball right now. I think they're
Yeah.
feeling themselves. Yes, yes, yes.
Same.
I-
Actually,
I'm
I
on
like
the
the
same
team.
train. Yeah.
do you think that like morale-wise, like they're probably in a better spot than Bad Boom right now,
Yes.
Yeah,
right?
Yes,
definitely.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
for
Red Bull,
sure.
I feel like they're on
They're on the
down,
down, and VP is
are
like,
on
yeah,
top.
yeah, I feel
think
the
everybody
same.
feels the same, like
Exactly.
watching
Yeah,
from outside.
yeah.
Yes, yes.
Also, you can just see it in their performances, right? Like, I think especially the person who's benefited the most from this TI in VP has been Kiritich. Like the first day wasn't great, right? But
Yeah.
the second day, we started making the meme. We started calling him Carrytich back in the
He was
like, oh my God.
Failitich the first few days, then
Really
Carry.
Carrytich.
Yeah.
Like, and especially his Spectre, because he was the first one to bust it out at this tournament. I think the thing I've liked about VP is FNG's always been that guy willing to play with his team some weird shit. We have this idea, we're going to give it a go. Even if it doesn't work for everybody else, for us, it seems good. And when they look good, they look legitimately amazing as a team. I think like VP, if I'm Betboom, I'm more scared of VP than anybody else because it's also one of those weird inter-regional matchups, right? It's a team that's practiced against you, they've scrimmed against you, they know you better, and they also know how to tilt you. They know what's going to piss you off. And then, unfortunately, Betboom is a team that has lost many tournaments because of tilt. So if they get tilted in game one, if they lose game one, I think they lose the series, like guaranteed.
I think they also have high expectations, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you guys
For sure.
think like from the outside, it looks like Bad Boom is this team with expectations for themselves or something?
Yeah,
definitely.
I know that feeling. It's once you're on that team, it's very hard to like, play your best because the expectations they're like crushing. You make one, it's good as long as you're playing good. Then you make one mistake and then
The pressure gets to you.
yeah, exactly.
Then this test also comes like, are you a unit or not? Like, do people turn on each other or do they help each other get
Yeah.
through this shit?
Mhm.
Yeah.
You guys know a lot about that, but Virtus Pro, let's be honest, so far it's been road to TI. The stage hasn't been as big.
Mm.
They have 3 very young players.
Was their
The
first-
nerves might get to them too.
Not even is their first TI, but a lot of them is their first LAN, right? Or
First LAN event and you're
But
on
then
TI.
I think this is the best opponent for them. Like, I think because they're playing, they're only looking up.
Yeah.
Those other guys, they're right now looking down. I think everything that happens on the stage is going to favor Virtus Pro and make it harder for Bedroom.
And it's also like they're playing on the same server, right? Like ups. I flamed him yesterday. I told him, like,
You're in shit, bro.
You're in shit.
Shit.
Like,
Watch
no,
tutorial.
what's the
There
difference?
isn't one.
Yeah.
No, but so everybody agrees that VP looks to be like, I don't know if
Upward
it will
trajectory,
be an
yeah.
upset, but I think for me, like the story is just going towards VP winning.
I'm with that.
Yep.
I also think that like these inter-regional matchups, it's hard to call anything an upset because anything can happen when you play somebody
Well,
that you played.
Bedboom, I think, are in a way the favorites because they have shown throughout the year, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
But this is probably if I'm Betboom of all these teams, I want to play, well, maybe Spirits are even worse, but like I don't want to play anybody that I've been practicing against the entire year. And they also have good
True.
reason to beat you, right? You've been
True.
coming fourth every DPC season.
Yeah.
So now beating you on the main stage at TI, that's gotta feel good. I think VP
Yeah,
is in the
yeah,
right
yeah.
mode right
I
now.
think the pressure is so high for Bedboom, honestly.
Yeah,
I'm
agreed.
feeling it here. Stressed out for them.
Also at Riyadh, we checked, while they were all playing pubs there, Bedboom was the team collectively had the highest MMR, like plus all 1 through 5. It was incredible. And then
That
make it put
should
together.
help them in their favor, because if anything, if like they just turn off their brain and go back into the zone,
Mm,
it
the-
means that they're very competent, right?
Mm.
Dota players individually. So I think that's always a good sign. Like if your five players have high MMR, it can't be bad for you.
Yeah, you can.
The next one, the third one, honestly, that could be the finals. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it could
might as
be.
well.
Spirit Liquid, that's going to be so good to watch. I have Spirit as winning the whole tournament, so I'm imagining they're going to get through this.
Yeah, but Team Liquid is they're an interesting bunch. I don't know. They haven't.
Liquid?
Yeah. So far, what's happened to them? They've been second.
Yeah, second.
How many tournaments?
Second at Bali,
Bunch of
second at
them.
Riyadh. No, second at Riyadh, second at Bali, second at Lima,
No.
and then second
Berlin as well.
at one of the Dream Leagues, and second at Berlin.
They've been.
There's a chip on their shoulder.
It's been
Yeah.
years also for like during the DPC when COVID started, they were always like just outside as well and like barely in range of the top two for many of them when gaming were winning and stuff also.
Damien, Tundra.
Yeah, so
Actually, I want your opinion on this. What is it about Liquid that doesn't allow them to win? Because they're such a good team. You see them play Dota, all the players are high skill.
That's rough,
They have
man.
good strategies. But I'm serious. I think like winning tournaments is sort of a habit, right? There's a reason why certain teams are only the teams that wind up in the top spot, right? So you've been in one of those teams, right? What's the difference between being what's the change they need to make to get into like championship caliber?
I think they have everything that it takes. I think they just peaked at wrong times, and I think they don't manage to control that ability to peak, when to peak, type of thing, you know? Um, that's how I see it. Like I think they peaked many times already as a team, you know, like in the beginning of this year, I would say that they were obviously the best team in the world, playing right now. Obviously. I think it was very obvious to everybody. But then things happen in life, it moves on, and the games are not as exciting. It's not TI. It's like I think they're battling a lot of motivation and like the drive. And then it's like now it's time to peak again next week, and it's like, oh shit, we have to turn it back on, you know? And I don't think it's always that easy, but and this is also then in their own head, because I think they felt the same.
And it keeps happening over and over again, right?
Yeah, and it's like it's in here, right? Like we have it in us, but how do we turn on the car? Like we forgot to turn on the freaking car. Like
I want to ask two things off of that. Like, first thing is maybe being second for throughout the year is going to be beneficial for them. Maybe. The second thing is, speaking of motivation and TI, is there still the same amount of motivation, even though there's not the same amount of money involved?
I think for some of the teams, I think if you placed well at Riyadh, you probably are a bit more motivated. Because then you got the money out of the year, right? Then it's pretty chilled. Like, so you're like, yeah, it's fine. We can win this because we want to win this.
Yeah, it's more about the prestige.
And it's
what do
still
you
TI,
think,
right?
Saber?
I mean, that was for me like I think looking at looking at it from an outside perspective, it's easy to like be like, you know, this TI is worth like 1/10 of the other one, so it's okay, I lost. But well, like while you're in the tournament, at least how it was for me, it's
It
like
doesn't feel that way.
it doesn't matter like what's the price, if it's like high or low. Like the thing is, you can only win the tournament that you're playing in right now, right? So might as well just win it.
Yeah.
So you know, do your best, and you know, sometimes it's enough, sometimes not. But I also think for this Liquid team, they're like, if I would have to say like the two most stable team in this this entire year or in this tournament, I would say Spirit and Liquid, and then maybe Gladiators. But for both of these teams, it's like they don't win because they have some insane strat, or you know, they have some curly teach that pops off, or whatever that is. They're just like really solid and very stable. And I think for them, that's like enough to get them to the top two. Same for Spirit. And then I think the difference between the two is that for Spirit, they're able to like clutch up in the finals. At least that's what I saw in Riyadh's final.
Riyadh, yeah,
They like played against Liquid. They picked the same draft, game 1 and 2 or
two,
something.
yeah.
And you know, the second game they actually win with the same draft. That seemed insane. And it's because they have this ability to like clutch up. And I think that's also why they were able to like win TI 2 years back. So that's like the difference I see in these two teams. But like the reason why they're the best is because they're like the most stable. They're like the secret few years back during COVID when they were just winning everything.
Winning everything, yeah.
Also, I think Yatoro is probably the best carry right now.
Yeah.
Right? Yatoro is just
What everybody seems to say.
he's so good though.
Yeah.
Like astonishing.
He started the tournament the same way he did at what was it, 10? In Romania,
yeah.
he's just playing any single carry and winning with it.
Until they played their last game in the groups, right? Was the first game he played another hero, like again. Up until that point, he played a different hero every game.
Do you think that he asks for that? Like, this is something we talked about. There are some players that just don't want to play the same hero twice, 3 times. They just want to play something else.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's also to kind of a benefit, you know, like I also think if you're a team that's winning or doing like on the long term, you're gonna stop and ask yourself like, do I really want to play Pango again? Like, does it make sense to pick it here? You know, because they've been trying to figure out this Pango for, you know, weeks now, picking against it. It's like at some point it just doesn't feel right to do the same thing. Now for your Toro is, you know, on the extreme case where it's like, shit, I played this last game, I can't play it again. It's never gonna work, you know. But I do think there's a lot of plus to take from switching things up in many ways, you know, and if you're able to keep it controlled. So I think when he peaks, it looks amazing, right? Because he really understands the game, not just the hero. Yeah.
And I love that you mentioned, by the way, Team Spirit and Team Liquid as these top 2 teams. And in the next series, like LGD Gaming versus Azure Ray, there's LGD. Also, like I feel like this isn't a team that's been talked about enough throughout the season.
Agreed.
And okay, understandably so, they didn't really have a big international performance at the TI, but man, this new guy, he is something else. How do you feel? How do you feel about New?
Yeah, he's good. I watched this bunch of his replays, like when I was still in the tournament, and I think his Bristleback is really strong, and his Centaur as well. I mean, he's overall a very solid player. I didn't even heard of him like before coming into this tournament, and Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just like, we're like the Western, the Western Dota, so I don't really talk about LGD that much, but I think they're like a very solid team, and they always seem to like pop off at CI. So I'm interested to see what they're gonna show.
It's always been the case, right? That at TI, Chinese teams tend to overperform. Even in years where China's bad throughout the year, at TI, it's always like I don't want to play against some of these Chinese teams. And last year was called BAB, right? His first tournament was the last chance qualifiers we did last year. And Vici that he was on was a trash team except for him. He was so good on Vici. And throughout the entire time, him playing, there were games he would carry them on like Magnus, Bristleback, and
Silversaw, right? Yeah, I remember those.
game that he had where mid lane went, I think, 0-8, while he was 12-0. So I was like, oh, okay, all right, I see what's up. Like, from the moment he left Vici, because I remember he joined, when did he join LGD? Was it Tour 2 or Tour 1?
Not sure. Tour 1, Tour 2, what?
Somewhere around there. It took a while for the team to start gelling and actually getting there, but no matter from the first day he arrived, he was like, okay, this is like an LGD contender. This is the kind of guy that can actually replace Faith Beyond. Faith Beyond for the longest time was sort of a
They
replacement.
switched like 2 or 3 offlaners.
Yeah,
right,
they tried
after
first. First they tried Zeal, and that didn't work out, right? It was okay during DPC. Then at Lima they played with who was it that they had stand in? It wasn't Yang. It was
I don't know.
Old 11. Yes, 11 stood in for them there, and then
Oh wow, I think I remember that.
really work out either. But then the moment you joined the team, you're like, okay, this was one of the missing pieces. Now they just need time to gel. And at this tournament, they look so good. And the fact that he plays like a billion heroes makes it easy for a coach like Zhao Wei, who likes experimenting and waiting in the draft, especially for offlane picks, to be like, all right, confuse the hell out of them. We can pick a hero first. In game 1, we'll pick first pick offlane. Game 2, we'll pick last pick for you.
Who
You
drafts
just
for
never ever see it
Ashure?
coming.
Do you know? Who drafts for Ashure?
For Jure or Lanem.
Is Lanham drafting?
Yeah,
Right, okay.
Lanem's dropping for them, and then
That is so cool. Lanham and
super
Shiny drafting versus each other. I can't
Yeah.
believe it. Oh my god.
TI stage.
Oh my god.
That's so lit.
That's so funny.
That's so incredible. And for guaranteed top 3 placing between these two guys, that's
like
come true.
for me, LGD Gaming maybe have a little bit more flair than before. Like when they were playing against you guys at TI finals and whatnot, for me they look like a team that's just they're a bunch of machines. They're insane at what they do, and you know what they're gonna hit you with, but they're just too good to be stopped. Meanwhile, this new LGD, perhaps um they're not on the same level as before, but they get out these Dark Willows and whatnot. Like they have some crazy drafts.
I'm super excited for this because I also think it could be one of the finalists. I'm not sure who's going to take this one.
I have LGD in my finals against Spirits, so I'm with you on that one.
Yeah. I think it's very likely. I think it's very likely that one of the Chinese teams will make it into the finals. Now, I agree with you. I think it would, so far, it would make sense if it's Spirit because they don't seem to be that easy to stop. But yeah, but who takes it between LGD and FRA? I actually don't know. It's so. I think I have to go with my boy Xiao Aid, like if I have to choose. But
I think it definitely goes 3 games, right?
Yeah,
that one I'd be shocked if it's a 2-0.
Yeah, I could see how the first 2 series could be 2-0 in the obvious directions, but I wouldn't be too surprised either in the other way. But I expect the last 2 series to be 3 games.
Yeah,
both of them.
I was talking to Helen, one of the Chinese translators, and she was telling me that she's never actually seen Zhao Wei laugh and smile as much as she has at this tournament.
Oh, nice.
And they just seem, when you see them, they seem so relaxed. Like, relative to how they were throughout the year at the other tournaments, LGD out there just chilling, they're having fun. I think New's also a good influence because he seems like he's always smiling and laughing. Like, so they just seem like they're in a good place. And I think it probably helps if you were losing, coming close to winning, but losing in a very high stress environment, maybe being more relaxed might actually help you win. They'll be chill. I really back LGD for this.
It's nice. It's nice. Having a good atmosphere, that's the number one step. I'm sure Johan knows
Yeah.
Some players told me that it doesn't matter what atmosphere you play in. I think that was one of the stupidest things I ever heard in my life, you know? Like, this guy really wanted to win and stuff. But yeah, I'm not going to call him out right now, but yeah. Cloud9 was a hell of a team.
Like, who was it in your team? I feel like, motivationally speaking, it was always Seb, like when it comes to speeches and whatnot. But looking at your games, I feel like Jerax was the one that kept the fun in games.
I think everybody plays a big part in this. Like everybody can make it, everybody can break it, type of thing. You know? Yeah. Even Anna, for example, like if Anna wasn't the most vocal, but if he sometimes would share or if he sometimes would laugh, that is him doing as much as the guy also making the joke. You know? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, you feel it when you're in the team and you're that close. Like you feel each other's thoughts, right? You're so close that you know, if this guy is like in a toxic state right now, you just know. Doesn't, and it can't be him not laughing at what you're saying. It can be him like ignoring what you're saying, you know, not picking up on it. So it becomes very, you know, delicate when you're in this type of environment and like our own thoughts echo so loud. The actions of the people next to us is like, yeah, you pick up on everything. So
It-
you will see if some of these teams, if they've had a long week, you know, if they've had some issues they can't fix, because maybe they'll show up today and they'll just look like a shadow of themselves.
Yeah, I feel like if 5 days have been detrimental, it's a long
Or
time.
4 days, I guess. 'Cause
4 days, yeah.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
It's like a long time.
Hmm.
Pressure can get to you as well, right? Like
I
it's
think so.
it's not
Yeah.
the same.
I mean, I was talking to some of the guys yesterday, and I heard somebody from Liquid be like, "Yo, it's been like, you know, 4 days of just
Just brooding, sitting in the
I
room.
think
What do I do?
yeah, I think maybe they had like 2 sets of scrims or just 1 set of scrims per day, or even they were just pubbing. I'm not exactly sure, but I think they are going crazy. Like I think
Yeah.
everybody is going crazy, waiting for
The
this
wait
show to
is
continue.
worse than the
I think so.
actual time. Yeah, people spend playing.
It's not that simple as, you know, you just put it down. Like you don't put the cup of coffee down. No, you have to fucking keep that shit
Keep it
warm.
warm.
Yeah, like 4 days of just keeping the Red Bull cold. I mean,
Yeah.
It's a which team do you think is going to get the biggest debuff from having to wait so long to play?
Mm. I mean, for me, I think it might be Nouns because I think the strength of that team is just like, first of all, it's like it's very exciting. Like first TI, I think for a lot of them, not TI, but like playing on the main stage for top 8 or whatever it is. So I think like that is very exciting, and also they won. Who did they beat for the upper bracket slot?
They beat
Tundra, yeah.
Tundra, yeah.
So you beat Tundra, you're like super ecstatic, right?
Yeah, and then they go down. They
Yeah,
lose.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then you know the buff kind of wears out after some time. It's like you know it still feels good. We beat Tundra, but it's been 4 days, so now you go from zero again.
I think they did get ahead of themselves, but I also think they went a bit away from, you know, that whole thing I talked about with Hector and his hero and how they placed out, which I think revolves a lot on him playing a hero like this.
Yeah.
Because I think one thing is also carry matchups. Like not every carry plays Muerta, not every carry plays maybe Naga or Peel as well as others and stuff. But every carry really feels that it can be hard to pick sometimes in this patch because heroes like A gets picked, you know, heroes like SC gets picked, and you have these hard guys, and it can be really hard, you know, you need lifesteal, you need this, you need that. But I do think they're gonna need to stick to what worked for them, and they're gonna obviously not get ahead, need to not get ahead of themselves again, because if they do, I think they're done. I think they're very done.
I think it's interesting we're talking about Nouns because I think the strength of that team as well, the way that they beat Tundra is that they were pulling out things that they hadn't done before in the tournament, right? Like the offlane Witch Doctor, they played the Dazzle the one game. And for them, it comes down to, in my opinion, whether or not they figured out some other new broken strat. So if Astini's used the last 4 days to come up with some new shit, then they're probably in a good space. But if he's unable to innovate, then they're in a really bad spot because I think playing a standard game, 99
They
times
need
out
to
of
innovate,
100, GG's going to win, right? Then that one game where Stevie's just some weird idea. That's what he's gonna have to spend the last few days coming up with because player for player, skill for skill, outside of like Connor and Hector, GG is overall just better. They're just better.
Gunnar versus CCNC, who's
In the mid lane, that's gonna be fun to watch.
NA showdown.
Tango versus Experts. Who
it could
plays
come
Tango?
down to, you know, like it could come down to Quinn just crumbling or Gunnar just crumbling to, you know, the NA counterpart.
Very important because both teams rely a lot on mid movements, right? To actually like progress the game forward. So that mid matchup, I think you can honestly just leave the camera there for 5 minutes and then tell who's going to win the game based on who's winning that matchup.
Yeah.
Could be true. It could be true.
Maybe they popped, met each other 1v1 on that mid lane a bit, you know, practice. But you know, you're talking about these debuffs and buffs. One team that definitely has a buff is Team Liquid. Like, if OG was here and they were bringing reinforcements, it would be Seb. Liquid brought Matu.
Yep,
I
Matu,
saw that
he's hanging
they're
out.
doing a lot of things with him. I'm sure that he is there for motivation as well, right? Like helping the boys out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean the Matu buff is real. You have like a bunch of people just you know supporting you, and you have like a TI winner just sitting behind you.
there, yeah.
Must be nice. Must be nice.
Yeah. Giving reinforcements to Blitz.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
yeah.
He's got your back.
Blitz can go to the gym finally.
Matu's holding it down. He's taking care of it. He owes me a drink, but he's a nice guy.
He owes you a drink?
Yeah,
He ran away from the bill or
went to some place at one time. No, he happened to forget his actually it's a funny story. So we get to this place There were a few of us. And here in America, everywhere ask for like IDs to get in, right? And Matu had his driver's license. He thought it was going to be absolutely fine. I should just walk in. And at the door, they were like, nah, bro, you need to have like your actual passport. So we actually left twice. First, we left to get Effie's passport to come back. Then we had to go back to Matu's hotel to get his shit, come back. And then he's like, oh, God, I left my wallet at home, boys. Like, did anybody have my bag cover me? We're like, don't worry, bro, we got you.
Nice.
He's a really nice guy, but I like him.
You win TI and you're asking where you come.
How it goes, bro. The rich get richer, you know?
I see how it is. Uh, yeah, they're definitely buffed, I guess, but besides them, I don't know. Like,
Now come to think of it, I think I made Fog pay for my drink as well yesterday.
yeah, this is how it is, man. Like,
It's Dota players. You know, Dota players, they're used to not paying for anything. You have a whole
Yes.
paid for, food paid for. So, you know, that's just like
Yeah,
people
the-
pay for it.
or ordering $100 steaks on Uber Eats, like
You just
that,
and get
that's blasphemy, isn't it? Like even getting that steak, it's blasphemy. Like by the time it gets to your hotel, isn't it like kind of?
That was warm.
It was warm.
It was
It was
warm.
good. I mean, it's $100.
$100, better.
Yeah.
Okay.
The box was golden.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
okay.
Oh, actually, it was kind of depressing because it's like in a cardboard box. It's like, come on,
Yeah.
man. It's you know, it's all right.
Okay,
It's not like I'm actually going to go to the restaurant because then I would have to pay myself, which is not happening.
No. I'll no. Here's the hack, brother. So basically, they gave us these
Oh,
Uber
okay,
Eats.
wonderful.
Sorry, PGL, hire me, please. Don't fire me. You have Uber Eats, right? Well, what you do is you order pickup, then you go to the restaurant and you eat there.
Oh, that's
Uh,
smart. No,
that's what
okay.
you do.
Next
Next.
$100 thing.
Next.
Okay.
Oh
Good.
man. Well, I think TI is about to start. It's going to be an exciting weekend. Yeah,
So
it'll be very
excited.
nice. I'm excited to also check out the area around the arena because it used to be so epic, like the vibes that you had around the arena. So I'm gonna go check it out, see how that is.
No spoilers, but from what I've heard, we are in Seattle. We are close to Valve. They're gonna take care of it. Going to be it's gonna be epic.
You heard that. I was gonna take care of it.
Yeah.
Any complaints, you know where they're gonna.
Yeah. Message
Stay
Gabe.
in town. We can go
That's
directly
Gabe
there.
Newell.
Well, yeah, I guess everybody wants to go check out TI today, so I'm also gonna join that crowd. And those that are in town but don't wanna, spend the whole day at the arena or couldn't manage to get tickets for the last weekend, we're also watching Dota from here. It's not far, so please come on by. It's cold outside. It's nice and warm
Very
inside here.
cold. Very cold.
It's cold outside. Yeah, feel free to stop by. Feel free to watch the games from here. And I'll see you around. Yeah, I hope I'll see you guys around as well.
Yeah.
Venue.
First,
We're gonna be watching from TI. Before we go though, you think Spirit's gonna win?
You're talking about, okay, so let's
Like the
do
whole
one
tournament.
more. Okay, you're
Like
talking about the whole
The
tournament.
whole tournament, yeah.
I have a feeling China's going to win this year. I have a feeling it's going to be LGD. I don't think there's going to be another two repeat,
Yeah.
Yeah.
is that what you're hoping for, or you
No,
just
I think it's just
they're-
destiny, bro. I think it's not up to any of us, I think maybe it's not even up to Spirit.
So it's just
Whether we
scripted
like
and
it or
that's
not.
it.
It might be written, who knows? Like, but I have a feeling. I think
Okay.
LGD can take it on.
What you feel, Emil?
Uh, yeah, I can get behind LGD. I feel that they have a lot of flair, and they're also a team that kind of wasn't explored. No one gave a shit about them. Like he was talking about, everyone is looking at gaming. After them, the two biggest teams for you, Liquid and Spirit.
Yeah.
LGD just kind of cruising by.
Go. Jonas, what you think?
For me, it's Liquid, and
Yeah.
then maybe LGD, like a second choice. But I think Liquid will do it. It's like a perfect end to the storyline. Second place all year. They actually like finish it
to
off.
win it, yeah.
Will win.
And it would be nice for Nisha, right? Because you were second last year at TI. So
True.
Yeah.
then you come, you win the next one, you're like, all right, fine. I'm doing it for Puppy. Puppy couldn't make the whole run. Secret, but Nisha can.
What do you think?
Oh, I'll Spirit. I just think that's
Okay.
good. Or rather, I think your Lapsio is too good. And right now, all those good heroes in the off lane, Lapsios. So
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Labs makes his own heroes good,
Yeah, exactly,
also. So,
exactly.
he decides.
It's collabs that's good, not the
and also
heroes.
they have that team is cheating because they have two carries. Because every other game, Miposhka has more damage like anyone else in the team. And you're like, okay, this is a
Some
bit hacks.
Enchantress and Dark Willow with
Exactly,
Midas. Yeah,
Wow.
for sure.
The new Willow ulti is so good on support as well.
It is.
Yeah. Well, my heart's with Liquid, but I think LGD, and we have one more LGD.
Yep.
Were you with me? Then we have Team Spirit.
Liquid.
No,
you
Liquid
said
and
Liquid.
Spirit,
Then we have
yes.
Team Spirit.
But also I have LGD in my final. So I love China a lot. So if they win,
You won't be sad.
I'll be so happy to be wrong. I'll be like, oh yes,
All right.
Shaba
I'll be
finally
happy to
getting
be
the
wrong
ticket.
too if Liquid win. I think that would be a very nice ending to the story as well. But let's be honest, not anybody could take it, but I mean more or less anybody could, I think, in this top 8. But I think the biggest upsets would then be VP or Nouns or
50 now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
but yeah, we'll see. I guess we'll see. We'll find out today. Stay tuned. Not here, but somewhere else. See you around. See you at the venue, and enjoy the Dota.